Hey everyone, Miff here, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. Now we're back in Candlekeep, in our home. So let us explore, see what changed, what didn't, see what kind of reunions we can have with our old friends here. Basically the thing is that this map is basically reloaded. It's essentially the same when it comes to the what the containers hold and stuff like that. So although there are some differences, like there are no rats anymore, but instead we have cats here, still there is the same silver ring in this in that barrel. We're also going to be able to, for example, get another potion of clarity from Winthrop's Inn again. But that one container at the very beginning, that's so hard to open, actually the contents of it are going to get changed. This is one of the exceptions. Anyway, also when we were here at the start of the game, I actually didn't showcase the really cool lines that these priests of Ogma have, and also they are still there in Baldur's Gate 2 when they will say that wisdom is only possessed by the learned. Listen to this guy.
Wisdom is only possessed by the learned.
I love that one.
These walls contain the world's knowledge.
Yep. He doesn't have any unique temple services though. It's just all about the voiced line, dude. Alright, so for example in this stack of hay there's still the book that we gave to Flydia in the prologue. So like I said, everything is kind of reloaded. Sinashira, I didn't think you were ever coming back. What it's like out there. So I like this response the best, I think. So I lived my entire life within these walls, and in the past while I've seen 50 times as much as these walls could ever hold. It's weird though. All that space and barely a book in it. I never realized how special Candlekeep really is. Yeah, and he actually mentions that there are some of these Iron Throne merchants here to do some business.
What do you need?
Yeah, welcome home. Same old, huh?
Yes?
Alright, so nothing more to get out of Drepin. If you use different dialogue options, you can offer him to like take him with you outside Candlekeep, but he's not going to be willing to. Okay, let's get inside, guys. So it's the same here. We can still open this chest, we can still loot the 8 gold here, there's still the normal warhammer in these boxes. Anyway, here's a guy that we can talk to. Apparently a priest of Ogma. But he's pretty weird. He like hisses at us. You startled me, child. What are you doing to that cat? There's a dead cat in front of him, by the way. It died, and I'm studying it. What is there to study? It's a dead cat. Well, I actually don't agree with this statement. There's plenty to learn from by studying a dead cat, but not what he's studying. He's just studying the kind of the shape of it. But of course, what I mean here is like seeing how the internal organs are placed and how they function, how they're connected, all that kind of stuff. And to you know, improve your knowledge of anatomy and biology in general from that discipline. Okay, anyway. So he studies, you know, the length of its whiskers, the sharpness of its teeth. I must know it all, you cur. Now leave me to it. Whoa, dude. Like, what is this behavior? What is this attitude that you're displaying here? Must you pry so hard, you meddlesome brat? Forget the plan. I'll taste you now, and I will, and study your flesh as I do the cat. So he's a doppelganger, obviously, and was studying the cat to know how to, like, assume its form. Which, if you think about it, if doppelgangers could shapeshift into cats, like, that would give them like unparalleled spying opportunities. Like in the form of a cat, they could just basically go anywhere and overhear any conversation. Anyway, so here of course it's the same old Candlekeep. We have the chanters. I want to direct your attention to this one, the yellow one, because basically, as we are going to find out soon, this is all you have to need. His line.
The Lord of Murder shall perish, but in his doom he shall spawn a score of mortal progeny. Chaos will be sown from their passage, so saith the wise Alondo.
Yeah. The Lord of Murder shall perish.
Yes,
Alright, let's visit Winthrop's Inn and have a little reunion
certainly.
there.
I am here.
Especially with Imoen, because Imoen, you know, her foster father was Winthrop, basically. Very similar figure to what Gorion was to us. And here's Reaver also. That's pretty funny. You've been away without leave, soldier. Are you expecting forgiveness? Are you expecting redemption? Well, spare me. I want 500 push-ups, and I want them now. Okay, let's talk to Winthrop.
My hotel's as clean as an elven arse.
And so he, of course, jokes, as usual. And yeah, it's good to be home. Winthrop, my old man. And you, little missus, owe me a long account for all my worries after you had ran off. She's like, I do. I know. Oh, damn, I'm so glad to see you, Puff Guts. Yeah, it's good to see your impish face again. Now fill me in on what it is you've been doing lately. So we can just give him give him a more light-hearted response, I guess, about generally adventuring. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but my nose is exceptionally itchy now. Just scratching my nose often. Alright, I think I should be good for a moment there. Anyway, there's a world out there, and it needs a righteous old kick in the arse every now and again, doesn't it? And he's like, spoken with the wisdom of a true fool. By the gods, I love this bastard child. And he has his old stock. He even has all of the rings that we sold to him at the very, very beginning of the game. So yeah, we can open this container here and get the same contents, which I'm not even going to bother to pick up, not to clog up our... Actually,
Certainly.
yeah, because Winthrop doesn't buy scrolls, so I'm not even going to bother. Actually, yeah, let's go up
It is
with
done.
everyone. I think I'm going to give these boots to Koran so he just can quickly open up the stuff. Here's the Potion of Clarity again, so that's very nice. And the contents of this chest, of course, are changed. It's just a diamond now. Oh, this is already full, huh? I'm going to have to rework my potion case again. Look into it a little bit. Right, well, what do we have here? What could we take out here? Well, we have 10 elixirs of health. That would help. Taking those out would give us some space. So let's give that to, oh, I don't know, Chihira maybe. Can be a keeper of potions. Okay,
I certainly.
now we can go down.
Your
Maybe actually sell this
My hotel's as clean as an
jewelry
elven
stuff
arse.
immediately from the Ogre Magi and from what we've gathered here. Alright. Now we could... we don't really need to rest, because we barely used any spells. We used a few
It is
against the
done.
Ogre Magi, but you know, it kind of makes sense that after all this travel you would of course rest. And you know what, for that reason, let us rest once in Winthrop's Inn, like good old times. Let us see if our, I don't know, we can use some of our old rooms maybe, or some
My
stuff
hotel's
like that.
as clean as
Let's
an
treat
elven
ourselves to a royal room, of course.
It
Now
is
it's
done.
evening, it doesn't really matter. All the important people are going to be there, whether it's nighttime or not. And we have still a couple of people to talk to catch up with.
Yes, it is done.
And yeah, still have the 8 gold here. Still have the 15 gold here. The one difference is that you cannot go into the barracks.
I am here.
You get a muffled voice from inside. Go away, you chimp. It sounds like something that the doppelgangers would say, so perhaps, you know, they have already infiltrated the barracks and like barricaded themselves in there, which is a spooky, you know, not a pleasant thought that they are all... And, you know, in general, I forgot to comment, you know, after we've met this guy over here, being a doppelganger, that is an insanely troublesome thought that the doppelgangers have already infiltrated Candlekeep as well. Our home. Anyway, here's Hull. That we, of course, gave his sword to in the prologue when he was stationed near the exit from Candlekeep. And of course, this here thing provides you an explanation of what happens to like Gorian's body. Of course, because we had the NPC project, NPC project gives us the option to actually bury Gorian. But in the normal game, this is kind of it. The next day, I guess. They actually found Gorian's body and took care of it. I don't like this response the most, I think. That someday we'll sit down over a mug of ale and I'll tell you about it. We catch up. Yeah, he's on duty now, but we can catch up later. Here's our old teacher Parda, that would normally be outside after an assassination attempt. He would be one of those guys who show up afterwards. And he says something pretty ominous, sounding pretty spooky as well. So, Sinashira, I heard you had returned. If only it weren't in such dark times. Something is afoot in Candlekeep. There is an unvoiced panic amongst those of us who still call these haunted halls our home. You must help us, I pray you. So what is so wrong? Or anything, dear Parda. Just tell me how. How? If only I knew. Go around, search about. You have been away for a time. Perhaps your eyes will see things that we cannot. We have been here too long. We are blind to the malignancies, for they have crept up so slowly and absorbed themselves into our gaze. But they are there. My eyes can see them, my ears can hear them, but all that is in me screams with the knowledge that they are there. Now hush. No one must know that we've been talking. So he, senses, obviously, that something's not right here. And of course, we've already seen that there are doppelgangers about. And this is something from the Enhanced Edition that they're just not consistent with. Sometimes, and most of the times, you just have information that, your journal has been updated, and that's it. But sometimes you get the full entry. Apparently, old reader Parda had something of a sixth sense about him always.
I am here.
So yeah, yet another piece of information here that, all is not well in Candlekeep. Not well at all. We can visit the infirmary here and get us some healing potions and talk to Fuller. So here's Fuller recovering from an injury, perhaps? Well, I'll be. If that isn't someone who with a tale to tell, I don't know who is. What have you been up to this past while? So yeah, the NPC project, of course, gives Imoen a comment, the same as with Hull. So there are some pretty funny responses here, like with the kobolds and the short swords and whatnot. But yeah, I think this one gives a more pleasant response from him, I think. The gate, is it? I hear that if you can stand the smell, the nightlife's great. You're taking me on an all-expenses paid tour of the place someday, you realize.
I should have joined the
And then yeah, we'll catch up on old times later. So this guy is, of course, still
Excuse me, but I'm late for my classes.
tackling those dishes.
Back this way.
Yes?
After all this time, that's still his primary job, I guess.
am here. It is
And we
done.
can get 2 potions of healing here and just get out of here.
Certainly.
If he stays in his room where he does the dishes, he won't even call the guards because he will not see you taking the potions. But since he moved, that's why the guards were called upon us. But we don't care.
Yes, indeed.
Salutations. I am Catterley, a visitor of Candlekeep, like yourselves.
So Catterley is one of those well-known people from the Forgotten Realms lore. He actually has a series of books where he's the main character in, and he's a pretty interesting character. He's a chosen of Denir, which is the goddess of art and partially also of scholars and knowledge. She's kind of similar to Ogma in some regards. So this is, another one of these like important Forgotten Realms personalities that appears in Baldur's Gate. Of course, we met Drizzt before, and by the way, I forgot to tell you that the Enhanced Edition alters their appearance, both Catterley's and Drizzt's, because to make them more true to how they are supposed to be in the lore. Because in the classic Baldur's Gate 1, Drizzt has a blue cape, but he is supposed to have a green one, and Enhanced Edition changes his cloak to a green one. And Catterley actually has red colors, and he uses a fighter model in the classic Baldur's Gate 1, but here they give him a blue mage appearance because that's kind of a unique thing about him, is that he's supposed to have a blue cape and a blue hat. Anyway, he's a pretty cool character. We can say that we called this place home for many years. And yeah, Senashira, then I know you well, though you may be hard-pressed to remember. I was last here years ago and conferred with your foster father as you were off to chores. I am not much your senior, really, but he has gray hair because that's kind of the thing with him, that he was magically aged during the construction of a temple to Deneir called the Spirit Soaring. And basically kind of his spirit was tied to this place. So whenever that place would take damage, he would age. And anyway, that's a whole kind of story about that. Anyway, I am certain you tire of hearing it, and that Legion have told you the same, but Gorion was well known to me. His death has been mourned by many. So we can inquire a little bit more about who Gorion was. Yeah, Gorion did many good things for many people. When last I spoke with him, I was barely acquainted with his fellows myself, but those who harp do tend to keep to themselves their affiliations. You know, like I said before, the harpers, they try to remain secretive and more stealthy. He was a long-standing member, from what I understand. Likely he said nothing to you because he wished your childhood to be as normal as possible. I suppose all parents wish this, whether the child is theirs or not. Yeah, so how do you wager you have fared? As well as can be expected, though I have learned much about myself that perhaps was better left unknown. And we are going to learn much more very soon, by the way. Yeah, so that's Catherly. Kind of a cool appearance of a major lore character from the Forgotten Realms. And here's the absent-minded old lady, Flydia.
Hello there.
Oh, why hello. Have you seen my book? Wait, no, you found that already, didn't you? Oh, I just don't know anymore. You haven't been around lately, have you? She didn't even notice. Never change, Flydia. And Gorion sure raised the charmer in you. So now finally, after all this time, we can actually enter the main building, the library itself. And normally in the classic Baldur's Gate 1 you would have a little cinematic of the interior here, but it was enhanced out of the enhanced edition, as a couple of other cinematics like that. Here we have also the statue of Alondo the Wise, founder of Candlekeep.
Yeah, indeed.
And here comes Karan, another one of our teachers, that would approach us in the prologue after the other assassination attempt. Yeah, my child, look at you. Your face has gained some new lines since the days when I tutored you. Yeah, this is also kind of an insightful reply. You prepared me as well as you could for what lay beyond these walls. I just pray that I am prepared for what I shall find within them now that I've returned. So yeah, we can call the Watchers here. It doesn't have any significance, really, but yeah, we can just ask him if there's anything strange this past while. Strange? Why yes, this is just the word I would have used for that cover-ass fellow. He was right here beside me, taking Alondo's prophecies from their place on the shelf and reading them. I could hear his voice, recognize the seer's words upon his quiet breath, but when I turned to steal a glance at him from the corner of my eye, it was the strangest thing. His eyes were closed, and he was reciting page after page, as if from memory. He heard your footsteps, it seems, and wandered off. I was just returning the prophecies to their rightful place here. It might be wise to take a look. So, yeah, we have this strange fellow Kovaras who apparently knows the prophecies of Alondo by heart, and it's going to be pointed out to us very bluntly a little bit later on, but if you try to read this name backwards, you know, you'll see who you can expect here. Now, there's plenty of bookshelves to search through here, and there's generally just books in them, and some lower level spell scrolls, but I am going to pick just a few of them. I'm not going to bother to search through all of this. Anyway, here's Theodon approaching us here, and this is so good. This is such a good conversation. This is not the NPC project, by the way. This is in the original game, and this is exactly how a family meeting would go, with these your parents or just family members just embarrassing you in front of your friends by telling your childhood stories and still regarding you as a child. Just listen to this. This is like really one of my favorite like dialogues in the game. Well, dip me in broth and call me stewed. If it isn't little Senashira. Why, I haven't seen you nearly quite some time anyway. Alright, hello Theodon, how have you been? I still remember you running about the keep in your little swaddling clothes, pestering the elders and spooking the cows. Ain't that right, Jessup? And by the way, this is like the third Jessup in the Baldur's Gate saga. Surely was. Yep. Of course, you never did stay in those rags of yours long. Yes, I remember. But how have you been? You'd be naked as a jaybird the moment someone turned their back on you. I remember the day that fella Blackstaff came floating in, and there you were, tearing around the outer keep with Gorion hot on your trail. Took the cloak right off his back, you did, and made yourself just the cutest little... Yes, I remember. Could we drop it, please? How have you been? Wait, I remember it all now. There was Kelben Blackstaff trying his hardest to look important, while you ran through the stables with his cape tied around your waist. Such a lark, eh, Jessup? Yeah, so this is NPC Project, a little comment here. And Koran, of course, drifted off. I thought I'd catch my death from laughing, I did. You and me both. Gran was shaking like a leaf, he was so mad. Alright, as fun as this has been, I should really be going. Nobody was sure what to do, and then Kelben mutters some words and catches you by the scruff of the neck with some sort of spectral hand. He hauls you out and drops you right in front of him, grabbing his filthy cape in the process. Everyone's scared they were, weren't they, Jessup? Sure enough, scared witless. Yep, and then old Kelben busts out in the biggest laugh you ever heard. Everyone in the keep was laughing like mad except you, Senashira. You just stood there naked as the day you were born and wondering what the fuss was about. I tell you, those were the days. Yeah, isn't this exactly what would happen on like some family meeting? Yeah, and of course NPC Project here, Koran, staying true to his character. Alright, I think I'll be going now. Oh, certainly, little one. Step by any old time, though. I've got some paintings of you as a youngster I'm sure your little friends would love to see. Remember the one of Senashira on the bearskin rug, Jessup? Surely do. In the buff as usual. Cute as a bug you were. Go play with your friends now. Go on. She never listens about it, but she is such a dear. Yeah, who did not... This is NPC Project now. Who did not see this one coming from a mile away? Now the Borals will be bantering for days. And this is NPC Project. Well, you were the quiet one of the pair, you were. Chihira. I cannot remember ever laughing so hard. Little Senashira and her bearskin rug. I simply must see how our omnipotent authority figure looked. Cute as a bug. Yeah, so of course, depending on who you have in your party, which characters, it can go for a little bit longer. And especially, you know, if you play a female and you have Koran in your party, he's going to make these interjections. So it's just pretty cool.
Our library is a man's harem of knowledge.
Yeah, and of course, like I said, they just treat you as a child still. You will always remain a child for them. I trust you are keeping out of trouble. Of course you are. Run along and play with your little friends now. Yeah, so that's really one of the funniest conversations, I think. There's, I think, one scroll. I kind of want, you know, there's web in one of these shelves. There's more important scrolls on the other floors, but the important ones are here, where I guess Saravok was. Not here, yeah, but in these two, there's kind of like a letter, and you could see like a basic scroll there. And vocalize I will take. So we have two scrolls there of some notes that supposedly, or maybe, Saravok made. The spawn of the Lord of Murder are fated to come into their inheritance through bloodshed and misery. It is the hope of their father that only one shall remain alive to inherit his legacy. I foresee that the children of Baal shall kill each other in a bloody massacre. So that's one note. Sounds ominous enough. Something about Baal and his children. We're going to learn more about all this in just a second. Anyway, during the days of the Avatars, the Lord of Murder, Baal, will spawn a score of mortal progeny. These offspring will be aligned good and evil, but chaos will flow through them all. When the beast's bastard children come of age, they will bring havoc to the lands of the Sword Coast. One of these children must rise above the rest and claim their father's legacy. This inheritor will shape the history of the Sword Coast for centuries to come. So those are like really important plot or like lore information, and our scroll case is filled to the brim again. What else can we take out of it that would be useful for Imoen to just hold on to? Let's get these invisibility scrolls out there. Anyway, let's go to the second floor. There's going to be 6 floors for us to explore.
Indeed.
Our library.
You need something, stranger?
Here's Bendalis. Yeah, he says that it's a pity that we could not have returned during a more restful time. So, what is going on? Yeah, well, things just seem a little strange around here. Those decidedly unmerchant-like merchants, for one, and some of our own monks are acting odd as well. One fellow in particular. Who would that be? Well, there's this fellow named Kovaras. I assume he is a visiting sage of some sort, but he seems more interested in our guests than the tomes. He makes me nervous. I think he's had the same effect on others as well. Young Shistel has been out of sorts for days now. He is not as thick-skinned as I. You remember how nervous he used to be? He's quite the opposite now. Seems like a totally different person. I worry about him. So, yeah, Shistel we're going to meet in a second, and here comes none other than Kovaras.
In the year of the turrets, a great host will come from the east like a plague of locusts. So saith the wise Alando.
Yeah, he's pretty familiar with the prophecies of Londo, as we've learned. Anyway. My name is Kovaras. I used to work for your father, running messages to his Harper friends in Waterdeep. Before he passed on, he entrusted this ring to me and asked that I give it to you should evil ever befall him. Will you take it? So, it works a little bit better. I am going to elaborate on all of this a little bit later. It works a little better, I think, if you do accept the ring, but of course if you already suspect something by his name, by his clever nickname that he chose for himself, you can just ask him, and what evil befell him, Kovaras? You were there. You saw it all. A woman, an armored figure, 2 ogres wielding clubs, and 2 archers. But Gorian's petty magic was of little use against them, was it not? And you fled with your tail between your legs, hiding amidst the trees until dawn broke. And now it comes full circle, doesn't it? The Iron Throne's so close that you can almost touch them and wreak your revenge for that night. So, this sounds way too suspicious to ever, like, accept any gift from him. And this is already so provocative. Anyway, I like this response. You're right, Kovaras. I was there. Myself, my father, and 6 others who tried to kill us. Where were you, if you know so much? Yeah, and then he just backs out of it completely. Yeah, go seek your revenge or your doom at the hand of the Iron Throne. I wash my hands of it. So he's pretty mad that we didn't accept his ring, apparently.
Concern?
Anyway,
Yes,
there was
certainly.
something to get from this floor. It's just like, there's so many of these bookshelves. I just wanted to loot a particular one. Oh, there's a chanter.
But in his doom he shall spawn a score of mortal progeny.
Yeah, so we can say that there's
Chaos
trouble
will be
there.
sown from their passage. So saith the wise Alando.
I just wanted to let him finish. You are right, I have felt it too. Pray tell me how this aging frame can help you. And we can actually ask him about any places that we weren't aware of that could still, like, well, that could be there. Some secret halls and whatnot in Candlekeep. Yeah, I'm not a child anymore, Chanter. The entire keep is in danger, even its most secret and sacred places. Yeah, I'm growing old, and the young are not so young anymore, nor the carefree so carefree. Alando the Seer, the one who founded this fortress of knowledge, and whose prophecies I chant each day, he is entombed deep in the bowels of this place. I tell you, Seneshira, because you are right. It is time you knew. But I beg of you, in Gorian's name, do not venture into those trapped and warded halls unless some higher power than myself bids you go. Your stepfather would never forgive me for your loss. Yeah, so there are some, like, catacombs beneath Candlekeep, and from this conversation we actually get the hint that they are, like, warded and trapped. Yeah, so here's, like, Acid Arrow. There's some better stuff on this level, I remember. Just which one was it? course, it's going to be the last one I check, right? It's chromatic orb. It's not the one I wanted. I'm probably misremembering. Oh, here it is. Mirror image. I wanted that one. Alright, now let's proceed to... Actually, you know what? We're going to do that in the next episode. Alright, I know I told you that we're going to get some answers in this one, but... You know, all of these conversations, normally, as you know, I prefer to like summarize what conversations are talking about, but here there's so many so important ones, and some of my favorites, like the one with Theodon and Jessup, I just have to read them out loud. So hopefully, you know, you can, even if you're not a big fan of the conversations and the whole plot and everything, the more role-playing focused aspects of the playthrough, you can see past that, and soon we're going to be back into the action, but here I just have to read those conversations out loud and just point all of our attention to those, because they are so important. This is where the plot really thickens, and you know, we really are going to get some answers finally, and everything is going to start making a lot more sense. So that's going to happen in the next episode. I thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you then.